Good evening, Denver Broncos fans. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup. Of course, it's Tuesday. It's now 7 o'clock, and moved up from the 6:30 spot that we were at. We've been kind of sitting in that 7 o'clock time frame for quite a while, but welcome to every single one of you. We're excited to have you tonight. How are you doing, Mr. Albert, to the side of me?
I'm doing very well. Been working outside the entire day, so it's very hot here and humid, and so lots of fluids, and we will keep it up.
I think that's the story across the nation, as it's been heat wave after heat wave. Of course, you're right in the thick of it, buddy. I can't imagine what kind of temperatures have you been looking at these days.
95 plus.
95 plus with a little bit of humidity as well.
Yeah, up to 70,
Ooh,
75%.
there you go. Okay, that's sweltering. That's sweltering. The judge, hopefully he's cool, sitting down in his basement right now. Welcome to the show, Judge. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Didn't work outside today, so I feel for you, Albert.
At least I get a little bit of a tan.
Get a little bit of sunshine, get a little
The
color to the
farmer's
skin.
tan.
Farmer's tan indeed.
Farmer's tan. Love it, love it. Yeah, it's tough to get the vacation tan, when you're out there working. So, but it is, I enjoy the time that I get to spend outdoors sometimes, and I'm more of a summer guy than a winter guy. 95 degrees with 70% humidity. I'm not sure about that. Has been warm around here. In fact, this room is a little sweltering for my outfit, I'll be honest, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm doing it for you guys. So appreciate you guys so much. I'm just jumping in real quick, guys. Again, comments don't load very good from Facebook. Want to make sure that we're getting y'all taken care of. And we have a couple of friends coming in already. Got Michelle coming in and saying, "Evening, gents." Of course, I can always tell by the emojis. Good evening, Keith, Jody, Albert, Michael here. And well, heck, he even tells me it's Michael here. So thank you so much. Kenny from the fantastic K&K Sports Show is coming in saying, "Kenny, so there is a Major League All-Star game going on right now, but the true AL stars who got my vote are Brugman, Moncrief, and Knoppers." I love it, man. Thank you, man. Kenny, you always come up with the most fantastic ways to give us compliments. I can never, ever, ever repay you in that way. But Kenny, head on over to the K&K Sports Show if you want to see more fantastic dialogue like this on all of your sports. They cover everything: baseball, basketball, football, hockey, you name it. Check them out, K&K Sports Show. Fantastic guys, and you'll get great comments like this as well. We got Roy jumping in saying, "Hello, all. Roy in the house, long time listener. Yes, first time caller. Ha ha ha. Yeah, no, Roy, we've seen you in here plenty of times, so certainly not a first time caller. Appreciate you jumping in here tonight. So, gosh, you guys are blowing up the chat room already. I want to get to everybody. So, this is the great Kurt Valente, the other half of K&K. Says, "What's up, boys? It's Kurt. Let's go. Training camp soon, baby." Yes, training camp soon. Right around, and heck, even closer, guys. Rookies report before training camp starts. That's like 7 days away. Man, that's like a week away. That's amazing. So, Michelle coming in saying, "Awesome, Kenny." And Kenny coming in one more time saying, "Mutual love from you all and much respect from you all." Well, thank you, Kenny. All right, gentlemen. Man, like I said, just blowing up the comment board right off the bat. Appreciate you guys being a part of it. We have a lot to get to, and I think some topics that everybody are going to want to talk about. Topic du jour, I guess, the position group that we've decided to hit on tonight, guys, is edge rusher. Jody is the one who's been bringing this to the table. Jody, why don't you break down for our watchers, for our listeners, for our viewers, what does that edge room look like? And then we can start going into, who's going to be starting, who needs to step up, what does last year to this year look like? We can jump into all of it, but what does this room look like as we sit today?
I think it looks.
I'm sorry. Could you break down players? I don't know if you have a depth chart or anything close nearby. All right.
I do. Originally heading into the season before his injury, Baron Browning and Randy Gregory penciled to start. Two guys that both need bounce back years. I needed Baron Browning to show uh, to to continue off of his season last year and continue to grow. He showed a lot of flashes that he could be the guy.
Yep.
Um, then had a knee injury that kind of derailed that over the offseason.
Absolutely. Who else you got on the roster? Break down the roster. Just go through the roster for us. We'll go back to the details of each individual guy here real quick. But
Uh,
really quick before you go through
yeah.
that, it's like I got the whole K&K show real quick jumping in. So I just wanted to say yo-yo to Sis as well. Love to see you here, Sis. Thanks so much for joining the show. Love to see you in here. Always love your comments, buddy. So if you got one, jump in here as well. We're just breaking down some edge rushers. So we got Baron Browning and Randy Gregory again. Originally slated Baron Browning to start. Now dealing with a little bit of a hip injury, if I remember correctly, that he'll be recovering from. Who else is on the roster, bud?
A guy they just picked up a couple weeks ago, Frank Clark. Also backing up who played good last year, Jonathan Cooper. Um, Second round pick from last year, Nick Benito, Aaron Patrick, Christopher Allen. Those would probably be the main guys. Then Drew Sanders. I think Drew Sanders will play some edge this year.
Yeah. Interesting group. A lot of guys that, honestly, when I looked at position groups, when you brought this to the forefront, Jody, and I started thinking about all the different position groups, this is the ones that kind of jumped to the forefront in my mind, just because it's one of those places that there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions all the way across the board. So let's start off right off the bat. Let's start off with Baron Browning, Jody. I'll go with you. I'll go to Albert, and then we'll reverse the order and we'll kind of go through the roster. Baron Browning, especially coming in, there was a lot of expectations, but break down Baron Browning and what we can expect from him this year.
He was a guy as a rookie that started a lot of games at middle linebacker. Made the switch last year to outside linebacker or back to outside linebacker where he played in college.
Yep.
And showed a lot of as he was started as a number 3 guy there till started as a number 3 guy there till later in the season. Then as he took over as a starter's role, he really showed a lot of flashes. Had some pretty good games. And it was something that I had really high hopes for, wanted to see him bounce back or continue to grow off of last year's season. He was a guy that I had predicted early, double-digit sacks, and then had that knee injury in the offseason training, which is a major bummer, a major setback. Sounds like he's going to at least start training camp on PUP. Hopefully that doesn't roll into the regular season, but as of now, it sounds like definitely training camp. That's what Sean Payton said. So,
yeah, and I'm sorry, say that one more time. Where is he expected to be at training camp?
PUP.
PUP at training camp. Unfortunate. Here's a guy that actually started 14 or appeared in 14 games both years. So a guy that really does have some consistency for us. May not have been a starter for all those games, but appeared in 14 games in both 2021 and 2022. Albert, man, we've been talking and talking. It's finally your turn, buddy. Jump right in. Welcome to the show. And again, give us your thoughts here, buddy. Give us your thoughts on Baron Browning. Oh, got to mute. That's why we haven't heard from you. You've been on mute the entire time. He's probably been yammering. I haven't even given him a chance. No, go ahead, buddy.
No. I was patiently listening. So yeah, Baron Browning needs to stay in the field. If he keeps getting injured and not playing because he's injured, I don't think.
Well, again, this is a guy that got 14 game appearances 2 years in a row. I mean, there's only 17 games in a season. He only missed 3 games his rookie year and his second year in the league. Now, he does have this injury he's going to have to come back from. But Yeah, I think the bigger question, is can he make the entire switch once he comes back?
I think that now that Randy Gregory has been there for a full season, and I think Randy Gregory is, because he has a little bit more experience, he is a good coach. He is willing to teach others, and Randy Gregory has a lot of opportunity. And now with Frank Clark there,
Mm.
now we have a seasoned vet. Uh, I think the sky is the limit for Baron Browning if he picks it up.
Yeah, unfortunately, we look at it from at least from a talent perspective. If you're going to look at this purely from a talent perspective, you'd have to say that Randy Gregory has some of the best talent. Frank Clark has some of the best talent. It already puts Baron Browning kind of in a predicament of trying to work his way into this roster because he's already on that at least number 3 guy, number 4 guy once he gets off of PUP. Here's a guy that also, again, we've kind of flexed him. He's been in that middle linebacker position. Now he's been playing the edge for a little while. Though he's showing flashes, again, it's going to be tough for him to get on the field, especially when you start adding in some of his competition that's going to be able to take reps from him right away, as we're talking about through training camp, through preseason. Hopefully he comes back as soon as he possibly can and getting on the field because I do like Baron Browning. I think he's a
Hmm.
very capable, guy. I will say, unfortunately, the one thing that works in his favor is we haven't been able to see the consistency like from someone like Randy Gregory,
Yep.
who is another guy that we can get to if you guys want to, and we can start back with Albert. Maybe I'll let him pick his edge du jour, I guess you could say, whoever he wants to go to next. But there's a lot of people that we can talk about. Nick Benito, Randy Gregory, again, Aaron Patrick, Jonathan Cooper. That's kind of our lineup. Coming off of Baron Browning, again, he's going to be on the PUP. Where do you want to go, Albert? Who's next on this list?
We have 9 outside linebackers right now on the list. So
Yep. If you want to
so
go really deep, you can go really deep. I'm taking
no,
it. I'm talking about top guys, I guess, too.
yeah,
Right?
Randy Gregory.
Okay.
I've I think they started him too early last year. He was injured. He was not fully recovered,
Mm.
and if they had waited him maybe 1 or 2 games before to play him, we might have seen much more of Randy Gregory because the times that he was on the field, he was very, very yeah,
Productive.
productive. Yeah, and that's what I want to see this year too from Randy Gregory. And if he hasn't, it is just like Von Miller. Von Miller is very productive if he has another good player on the other side. If they don't get double teamed, then they are very, very dangerous.
Mm.
But the moment they're getting double teamed, and they take them out of the game very quick.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking over snap counts for Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory actually had a pretty good year last year for his career because he played about 50% of the overall snaps for the defense. When you compare that to his years in Dallas, just going backwards, 50% for the Broncos last year, 55% in 2029, 40%, 52%, 45% in his rookie year, 31% of the snaps. So the expectation, honestly, unfortunately, has become with Randy Gregory, can you give us more than half a season on the football field? Basically, is what it comes down to. I also looked. I think if I remember correctly, if I was trying to get some quick stats before I jumped on. I believe it's about 9.5 games that he plays per season on average. So can we get 12, 15 games out of Randy Gregory because that would make a marked difference with production out of this defense. Jody, what do you think about Randy Gregory? Will he be healthy? Will he be on the field? Have we turned the page? We've certainly turned the page as far as a lot of our coaching and conditioning staff. Can Randy Gregory turn the page? Because it looks like he needs to in his career if he wants to be considered more than just a lackluster when he's on the field, quality guy. But good luck on never seeing that.
I think the big thing from this year to last year is he's entering training camp healthy, 100% healthy. Last year he was coming off the shoulder surgery, and I think that just kind of hampered him and caused other injuries because he was playing not to injure it. Those are my same concerns that I have with Browning. I hope he doesn't come back too soon and favoring one injury causes another. But back to Gregory, I think he is he's the key to this pass rushing unit. Before he hurt the knee last year, he was probably Denver's best defensive player. Great in the run. You don't see tons of sacks, but he gets lots of pressures. Great in the run, like I said, and those pressures lead to other guys getting to the quarterback. So I think he is key for this defense. He's got to stay healthy. And there are ways to keep him healthy. You need a big step from Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper, who's been a solid guy. Not the flashiest guy, but a solid guy you can depend on. Someone that needs to be able to get legit snaps and important snaps that can give Gregory rest where he's not playing 80, 90% of the snaps. He needs to be in that 65, 70% probably at the most.
Man, you hit right on what I wanted to get to, and that was, I think, and I don't know if you have this information, Jody. If not, I'd really appreciate if you could look it up. How many outside linebackers, how many edge rushers are we going to have, or did we have last year on the roster? Because I think the rotation can be fairly deep for the Denver Broncos, and it's exactly what Randy Gregory is going to need in order to stay healthy and be available later into the season and throughout the season. I think that we can maintain him if we can get a good rotation with Randy Gregory, again, like Jody said, not taking all those snaps, not having to be on the field so much. Maybe we can get better production. And honestly, if we do have healthy guys across the board and we do have production guys across the board, we could be a very, very scary group. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to kick it off, and just let me know, jump in whenever you want, Jody, when you got those numbers as far as roster positions for the edge rush, what we could maybe expect or what they had last year. Just let me know. Jump in anytime. That being said, I wanted to just say hello to Michael Ronquillo once again, because he's gonna jumpstart the topic that I'll go to next. I'll take a turn in this one. We've kind of gone around the horn, and he's jumping in and saying Nick Benito needs to step up big time this NFL season with the Broncos. Here's a guy that was selected second round, high second round, in the 60s. I can't remember the exact pick, but high second round draft pick in Nick Benito. When a lot of people thought there was the concerns could certainly be placed elsewhere. We could have looked at a lot of different positions. Second round, number 60, whatever, overall, I believe 64th, but don't quote me on that. There was a lot of different places we could go. And Nick Benito was the selection for the Denver Broncos. That means you got to produce. When you're a first round, second round guy, you should be producing, and you should be a quality starter for your team, especially by year 2, if not by year 1. Here's a position where Nick Benito, I hope he took a little bit of strength and conditioning from what I've heard about Quinn Miners, because Quinn Miners sounds like he's beefed up and he's looking really good. And that's exactly what Nick Benito needs to do. If he beefs up to the point that he can have the ability to set that edge, have the stability to stand up those guys, heaven forbid, there's a lot of times when we start talking about these edge rushers, take on a double team, and that's something that Nick Benito never needed to be double teamed, because one guy could always take him out. So Nick Benito needs to get to that point where he's not just a pass rusher. He can defend the run. And with that, Albert, I'll let you take it over for Nick Benito. What your expectations maybe are for him, and we'll go around the horn, buddy.
I think with the new players that we have, uh, Gregory, Browning, if Browning is available, but let's not forget Aaron Patrick. He will be available again too. He should be playing soon. And Nick Benito, if he doesn't step up, he might not even see playtime. Because right now I think he was too light, not heavy enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or was he 210 pounds? Something
Didn't
like
look up
that.
the stats, but yeah, he was a light guy, man.
And he has the quickness. That is the only benefit that he has. He is very, very quick.
Mm.
But it doesn't help what you said with the run. He is a liability for the run. And as soon as the moment he gets touched, he is done.
Yeah,
But
gets locked up really easy. Doesn't have the ability to get out of those grips of those offensive linemen that are trying to get their hands on him. Yeah, good point, buddy. Yeah, I like how you brought up, and we'll get to some of those other guys. Hey, there's guys that are going to be breathing down the neck of Nick Benito. Nick Benito isn't sitting there pretty in the number 3 position. But Jody, what's your expectations? And maybe was Nick Benito taken out of position? As a top second round pick as well.
For what Denver needed last year, yeah, I thought they overdrafted him. But I mean, it was a position of need. You had gotten rid of Vaughn. You had moved on from some different guys. Malik Reed, you eventually were going to get rid of. So you needed, I mean, it made sense what they did there. And I think he can be a good player. He was a good player at Oklahoma. He just needed to, one, get in the weight room and beef up. And because like you said, he didn't need double teamed. He was one blocker and he was out of the play. He needed to beef up where it took 2 guys to block him.
Mm-hmm.
He's
At
a guy
at some point.
Right. He's a guy this year that I think needs to step up big. And early and often, because especially with Baron Browning out. Right now, I would probably pencil in Frank Clark and definitely Randy Gregory as your starters. And he needs to be that third guy right now. He needs to be that Shaq Barrett type from 2015 that's coming in and making plays. And make it where they don't have to force Baron Browning back into this lineup because Benito's not playing well and Randy Gregory's hurt, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to solidify the number 3 pass rushing role. And then when Browning comes back, let Browning fit in where he may. And if Frank Clark gets less snaps, so be it, because, I mean, he's a little older in the tooth. He's not a high sat guy anyways the last handful of years. So, but yeah, he's definitely, for a second round pick, he's someone that I expect or anticipate to have breakout year this year and needs to step up.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're drafted where you were drafted. Yeah, and like I said, first and second round picks. When you're drafted that high, there's going to have to be some production expectations, and especially in a Denver Broncos coaching system like Sean Payton has put forth. And I love this idea. Doesn't matter how you got here. Once you're sitting in that room, it's about who's capable of producing on the field. And so when you go with that mindset, that really starts breathing down the neck of of a guy like Nick Benito. And just to get to a couple of more comments, got Roy coming in here, and he's saying Benito only showed flashes is all. Yes, I agree. He needs to beef up. Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, guys. This off-season conditioning program, from what I've seen of these players, Russell Wilson's not the only guy who's been rumored to be transformed. I think this off-season conditioning program will show you some different-looking Denver Broncos come whenever we get a glimpse at them. I guess is the best way to put it. That with the way they got the headquarters locked down right now, we aren't getting glimpses of much. So Kenny also jumping in here, and he just says, For me, it's simple. Randy Gregory needs to step up, be the elite pass rusher he used to be. Browning and Benito would benefit immensely if Gregory steps up, in my opinion. Yeah, kind of that opposite thing that we were talking about with the rotation for Gregory. You're kind of playing in the opposite side of that. Hey, if Randy Gregory steps up, just imagine how that opens up a Baron Browning when he comes up, or a Nick Benito when he comes back. Because again, we could have one of the deepest and most treacherous rotations, I believe, with who Frank Clark, Randy Gregory. You get a guy like Nick Benito who's maybe beefed up and can at least set that edge and still has that ability to be fast off the corner. Get Browning back, because we already saw the flashes, as people have mentioned on the show already. Yeah, it could be a pretty scary rotation, healthy and out there and producing. Guys, we have, like I said, a few other guys. We do have a Jonathan Cooper that's out there. We do have an Aaron Patrick that's out there. These guys are outsiders, kind of looking in towards this position, I guess you could say. But, who do you want to speak of? We'll go back around the horn. I'll start with Albert. Who do you like? Or you can wrap them together if you want to. We can talk about these guys one fell swoop.
So yeah, I Kenny, Alexander Madison is going to be our new outside linebacker. But yeah,
always getting Albert to giggle, right? When it's about his time to jump on the mic. I appreciate it there, Kenny.
So, but yeah, I think with Aaron Patrick, he could be one of those comeback players. We will talk about it later. But he could be one of those surprise players that comes back from an injury that took him out for a year. And here's the thing. How much of an influence does the health and strengthening coach has on a team? I think with the new coaching staff there, we already have seen so many improvements than the previous regime, what you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's I have to applaud for that.
I'll give you a little applaud there, buddy.
Because they do make a big difference. If you can see it in Russell Wilson and Quinn Miners, and if it goes for the entire team,
it'll be interesting.
Yep. So I would like to see an Aaron Patrick and show up and make let everybody be surprised about it.
Like it, buddy. Aaron Patrick, Jonathan Cooper, maybe a wild card if you want to throw it in there. Jody, what are your thoughts on those guys, man, as they kind of clean up the bottom end of the edge rush group?
I'll just work my way down real quick. I think probably your front for your top four are solidified: Browning, Gregory, Benito, Cooper. And then you've got two spots open, and Clark. So there's 5 guys right there. Last year they started off the season with 6, so I think it's really down to 2 guys, in my opinion. Aaron Patrick 1, and a wild card I'm going to throw out there, Christopher Allen, someone that did not play last year, but who's been injury riddled even his time at Alabama. But in the one season he played there, was a monster at pass rusher. All reports are he's healthy after missing all last year. And I think he's someone that could be a surprise, eye-opener type guy. And the reason I say that they only keep 6 is because you got Drew Sanders, who can also play edge. Drew Sanders had double-digit sacks at Arkansas. So I think he's a kind of a tweener guy that can play middle and outside. So that fills 1 spot, 2 spots, 1 guy. So I would say it's down to those 2 guys. Aaron Patrick, who was a special teams guy, who I think he's got a little uphill battle because he's coming off the ACL late in the season last year.
True.
And Christopher Allen, who didn't play at all last year. What is he going to be like not really playing for 2 full years?
Yeah, good breakdown, because I kind of brushed right over Jonathan Cooper. I kind of forgot about even mentioning him in the same breath. But here's a guy that, hey, late round draft pick came in, has been very productive when called upon, when needed. Very Not very often he's out of position. Not very often that you're calling his name in a negative way. So Jonathan Cooper has been just kind of that solid guy. Should be holding down a position on this roster, especially like you said, is Baron Browning. Here he is coming off a PUP. Aaron Patrick. Aaron Patrick was a guy that not only was a great special teamer, but I really thought was coming on about the time that he got injured. Was getting a little bit more playing time, in the rotation, and was looking pretty good out there. Kind of reminded me of another guy that I really liked, Jonathan Kongbo, where a little bit more top heavy, but really could get around the corner, could put on some pressure, could take on that block, and maybe demand a double team if needed at time as well. Pretty big guy. So again, Aaron Patrick is a guy that I like, as Albert said, to go up. But Christopher Allen, boy, there's a name that's almost forgotten, buddy. Sits at the bottom of the depth chart as it sits right now. But I remember when he was brought in last year, being a little excited about Christopher Allen and what he might be able to bring. Again, this depth all the way around, guys. It's going to be interesting how it comes together, how the health comes together, and how this starts to shake out through training camp and maybe even in the preseason, as I think some of these decisions are going to be made very, very late when it comes to the bottom end of this rotation of edge rushers for the Denver Broncos. So just really quick, guys, and then I'll get to you guys. I just want to say, Kenny says, all joking aside, the depth looks good, and the depth is important with all 17 games. And then I'll jump over to Michael's comment here in just a moment because it kind of goes a little bit.
I have one thing, so talking the depth. I think when you have guys at the bottom like Christopher Allen, Aaron Patrick, if they're pretty even, this is going to come down to who is the better special teams player, in my opinion. Denver has made a tremendous I mean, they've put that at the forefront. Special teams is going to be important. We are not going to be last in special teams this year.
Mm-hmm.
They have made wholesale changes there, and these guys that are towards the bottom, you're either going to play special teams or you're not going to make this team.
And these are the positions that we love to have on special teams too, right? Your linebackers, your edge rushers, guys that can take on meaty guys coming down the field, but also have the speed as well. So these guys are 100% important, and I think you nailed it, buddy. Aaron Patrick, if it wasn't for Aaron Patrick's injury, I'd say he'd have a leg up. Not
literally.
No pun intended, I guess. Yeah, right. Didn't mean for that to happen, but it came flying right out. How about that? No, but seriously, he looked great on special teams all last year, which was tough for anybody to look good last year in any particular fashion. But he's a guy that always looked good. But man, it's going to be really interesting. Like I said, bottom of this roster, see how these guys come in. See who's healthy, see who can compete.
And here's the thing. Are they going to take 6, maybe even 7? Because we know that Vance Joseph likes to rush the passer. So flesh blood on the field, rotation, keep them fresh.
Yeah, it just cuts in other positions, man. You need to have the cornerback depth. You need to have, our safety room. That's another place that we're going to end up getting to as we start to get through all of our different position groups. We already got Michael that wants to talk a little bit about it, cornerbacks, and we'll hit that up here in a second as well.
Why not have a kicker and a punter at the same time in the same person?
Good luck. We already got Riley Dixon on our roster as our punter, and I doubt we're going to let him walk out the door, just bringing him in this year. But yeah, there was things that we used to be able to do back in the day that we needed to see a little bit more flexibility in some of these positions. Seems like we're a little bit more specialized unless you're at the bottom of the roster and you're picking up those special teams duties. So, hey, that's the way it is, guys. That's the way it is. I mean, you got to be productive for your team when you're at the bottom of the roster like that. There's just no doubt about it. You have to fill another position for your team. So I was just looking, guys, real quick, because this is a great time, I think, before we jump into our last little topic of the night, what we had kind of planned, And then, like I said, I want to jump over to Michael's comment right after this, but wanted just to remind everybody that we are brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. And the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, fantastic media group that's covering all of your Colorado sports. So it doesn't matter if it's your championship Nuggets, your a year removed championship Avalanche, your Rockies, or your Denver Broncos. They got you guys covered. So head on over again, RockyMountainSN.com, RockyMountainSN.com. Check out all the latest that they have going on over there, all the articles that they have going on, and while you're on it, at it, jump on over to Facebook, jump in the Facebook groups, look up Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Jumps right up to the top, guys, and like, share, subscribe to that page as well. So while we're at it, guys, we have a fantastic sponsor. It's Willow Seasonings and Blends. And Willow Seasonings and Blends is a Colorado-based company. They're a Denver Bronco loving company. They're a veteran-owned company, and they're an award-winning company with their spices and sauces. Fantastic, fantastic stuff, guys. This is the heart of barbecue season. Don't disappoint all your family and your friends. Get some of the best seasoning out there. Head over to willowseasonings.com. That's willowseasonings.com. I got a little special something for you guys. Type in DBR 2023 as your promo code. It's going to get you 15% off. 15% off right here in the height of barbecue season when everybody is needing their sauces and their spices. I'm telling you guys, it won't be disappointed. Put a little bit of spice on my burger just the other day as it hit the grill, and it always comes out fantastic, guys. I'm an SPG guy, salt, pepper, and garlic, but you'll find your own. That's not even their award-winning one. Their award-winning one is their fantastic sweet heat, as seen here. So if you want the award winner, check out Sweet Heat, man. It took Blue Ribbon, top dog in last year's barbecue competition. The nice thing is, guys, not only do you get 20, or boy, I almost tried to increase the discount there. I almost said 20% off. No, it's only 15% off, guys. 15% off, DBR 2023. And fantastic David Slade over there kicks in $1 that goes towards a family in need for every single time that you put in that code as well. We have a family in need over at Rocky Mountain Sports Network, and we're trying to help them out as much as possible. So get yourself some barbecue, get yourself some sauce, some spices, some rub. Make your summer barbecue season special. WillowSeasonings.com. Spice up your life. Head over there today. All right. Appreciate it, guys. Let me get through all that. Wanted to hit this comment real quick because Michael's been hanging patiently. Michael says, PS2 was just named #1 cornerback in the NFL by ESPN. Well, congratulations, ESPN. They got it right. They got it right, man. Other people putting Sauce Gardner right there at the top. ESPN coming out and naming our own PS2 cornerback #1 in the NFL. And, man, he certainly has rocketed to the top, guys. I know that a lot of people give maybe some flack to George Payton because it was the obvious pick, but he took the obvious pick, and there's been plenty of times in history when people didn't take maybe the more obvious pick, and the guy right behind him takes that obvious pick, and you rue the day, guys. So, hey, at least we're not sitting in that position. We got one of the best, man. If not, according to ESPN, the best this year. So, nice shout out, Michael. Appreciate you getting us up to speed on that as well. Gentlemen, the Dutchie brought this conversation to the table, and he wants to talk a little something, and I would love to have the comment section blow up on this one as well. But he wanted to know who is going to be our comeback player or our most improved player this season. Albert, there's a lot of nominees that we could put to the board, man. Who do you want to start with? Let's start going over some of the nominees that we could go around the table on. Albert, who do you have as a nominee for a comeback or one of those guys that's going to have kind of that breakout season?
Mm-hmm. So the comeback player, one of them is, of course, obvious, Pookie. Then you have Tim Patrick.
Yep.
Aaron Patrick.
Yep.
And then I would almost say that even although he played quite some games, but Randy Gregory.
Yep.
he could be a comeback player as well. And then let's not forget Russell Wilson, because last season was horrible, and maybe he could be the most improved player. But yeah, the comeback players are for me is Pookie, Williams, Patrick, Patrick, and Gregory.
Very good, man. Jody, do you want to add to that list? Anybody else that should be noted in here?
No, I think that's a pretty good list. I think it's really there's one guy if this team is going to succeed or not. I mean, you need Russell Wilson to bounce back to old Russell Wilson. You can't have intermediate, mediocre Russell Wilson. Um, and close second, I would say, is Javonte Williams. Denver, besides Samaje Perine, really did not address this running back room. From all reports, they are going to be run heavy, beefed up on the O line, beefed up at tight end, blocking tight ends, and did nothing. So I think they anticipate him to be back, ready. Reports are he's going to be ready for training camp, medically cleared, which is pretty impressive, which is actually incredible, really.
100% incredible.
And if he's medically cleared, football cleared for contact and in football shape, I expect him to be your week 1 starter. Does he get a full load week 1? That I don't think so, but I mean, just to see him out there, if he gets 5 to 10 carries and stays healthy and makes some sort of an impact, is incredible for the type of injury he had. So I would say it's really those two guys, him and Russ, is where it's at. I want to say Tim Patrick, but Denver, I think that's their deepest position is wide receiver. And I think if Tim Patrick was to not have an incredible season next year, I think they can still do things without him. Not to take anything away from him, but I just think that there's other guys on this roster that can fill that spot more than filling Russell Wilson or Javonte Williams.
That's very fair, man. That's very fair. I mean, obviously, when you have a quarterback, your QB1 is typically irreplaceable by your QB2. You don't have equal talent sitting right behind you, except in very rare circumstances. So that makes sense, man. You know, Russell be needing to be that person. Javonte kind of needing to be that person as well. Samaje Perine has never been, RB1. Not since college, at least, or not even in college was he an RB1. He was kind of if I remember correctly, but certainly not in Cincinnati. Always RB2 behind Joe Mixon. Never really got that opportunity to take on that load. So, is he capable of doing so? We all have faith in Javonte. We all saw what he's capable of. We all wanted to get him the ball more and more and more. Even Will Melvin Gordon was splitting some carries with him in the past. So, when I look at, comeback player, I'll be honest. Hey, most improved, I'm okay if Russell Wilson goes in that category. Here's a guy that absolutely needs to be in that category of most improved. When I look at guys that are comeback, I reserve that for guys that are going to be truly coming back. So Javonte Williams would be an amazing story if he comes back. He's week 1 starter. He becomes 1,000-yard rusher, or is competing for that. That would be what an amazing story. Tim Patrick, here's a guy that's 30 years old. He's near the end of his contract, and he's near the end of his ability to get one more payday. There's not a whole lot of wide receivers. You have to be at the top if you're getting into your mid-30s and getting those contracts still. Tim Patrick has a lot to prove this year. Garrett Bowles, one guy that wasn't mentioned, is coming back from a broken leg. And here's a guy that, a lot of expectations early, kind of really had a rough start, got a little bit more on track once Mike Munchak walked in the door. Some people will point to the league wasn't calling holding penalties that year, which statistically, if you look at it, they weren't. this guy is a guy that needs to have kind of a comeback year as well. This offensive line is set up very, very well. We went out and we invested heavily. If we have Garrett Bowles setting us back with holding calls and being out of position, it's going to defeat everything that we put into place in the investment. There's a lot of guys that we could talk about in this comeback role, in this, in this most improved player position, guys. And I'll be honest, I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time choosing one. If I had to choose comeback player, it would have to be Javonte, because if he's a week one starter and he, again, competes for, top running back in the league, top 10 running back in the league, what a story right there and then. So that's going to be my comeback. Most improved, if Russell Wilson comes out here and does what everyone is expecting him to do, at least here in Broncos country, with Sean Payton in the door, with the coaching that he's got, with the mindset that he's in, heck, if he goes out there and performs to that level, no doubt he's my most improved player of the year. So those are my two nominees, I guess, guys. And we got, I believe, I just want to make sure that I have getting all my comments.
While you're finding that, for me, it's Javonte Williams, because not only was it just ACL, it was ACL, PCL,
MCL,
MCL, whatever other three letters you can put in your knee. I mean, his whole knee was destroyed.
Elemental P's in there, just gone all over the place.
He participated in OTAs.
I know.
So I mean, it's incredible that, I mean, people were talking early, he's going to be on PUP, miss the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Now it sounds more likely that he's going to be your week one starter.
Yeah, I don't think any of us, if rewind to an episode 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and we started talking about Javonte Williams, none of us were really expecting him to be a week one starter. It was an outside, hope, fingers crossed, maybe the Tooth Fairy comes in, waves their magic wand, and Javonte somehow is available week one. That was our thought process. As days go by, that's becoming less and less the Tooth Fairy and becoming more and more, heck, he's expected to be checked off, medically cleared to be full participant in training camp. And when asked, will you still run violently? He says, I don't know any other way. So that's the expectation. I mean, if that's the expectation in training camp, then that come week one, just like Jody says. And if that's the case, well on our way to comeback player of the year, barring, again, any injuries. But, guys, I've never been more confident with, again, the way that Javonte is just another example of, we've seen how this medical staff, how this strength and conditioning staff has benefited these players. If you didn't see the difference of when Russell Wilson took the podium this year compared to last year about the exact same time, you missed it, because, man, the strength and conditioning, the medical staff has done fantastic number on just the few people that we've been in contact and been able to see. It'll be interesting to see 7 days as the rookies report, and 17 days as we get training camp kicked off, exactly what these athletes look like. Again, I think it'll be transformative and hopefully good health for all of them. Man, if we're healthy, guys, whole different ball game. Everyone talked about it last year, leading the league. Man, it could be huge. It could be huge. Wanted to get to the comment, though, real quick.
I have a question for you
Roy,
guys real
just
quick.
really quick. I wanted to get
ahead.
this because Roy's been waiting. He says he would also throw in Damari Mathis. I do agree that Mathis kind of stumbled out the blocks, man. He had a rough go. I think it was San Diego or the Raiders. I can't remember. It might have been both. San Diego, where he racked up the penalties. But I got to be honest, Roy, not to be argumentative with one of our favorites here, bud, but I thought Mathis played really, really good down the stretch, especially being opposite PS2. So, if anything, he's one of those guys that could be, honestly, either a rising star. But I will give you this, man. He's got a little bit of heat coming up behind him as we picked up some draft picks and third rounder. Oh, what's his name now?
Riley Moss.
Riley Moss is going to probably push him in training camp for sure. But for all intents and purposes, Damari Mathis, if there was guys locked into spots, I would definitely put him into, CB2 right off the bat, opposite of PS2. Played really
Yep.
well last year, but he could be at the same time, not only with that pressure, but if he gets that spot, this is the guy that I have paid to lead the Broncos in interceptions. This is the guy that I think is going to be targeted a bunch, and I think they're going to be teams are going to wish they hadn't done so. I think Mathis
Yeah.
can step up to the plate in that regard. So
And he has a season under his belt, and yeah, the first game that he had 4 interceptions, and two of them were not even, yeah, pass interferences. But yeah, that's a different story. That's water under the bridge, what they say.
water under the bridge, buddy.
But yeah,
Go ahead, bud.
yeah, I think we were one of my surprise players could be, and I really hope so because I'm not a big fan of him. Is Cushionberry.
Oh, good.
Because he has to be the most improved player on the O line. And
Good call out.
I really hope so that he is going to step it up and he's going to be the center that we need him to be.
Good call out there, Albert, man. I talked a little bit about Garrett Bowles needing to be maybe that comeback player as he is coming off an injury, but also just kind of rising to higher expectations. And I think that's the same thing that we're talking about Lloyd Cushenberry here. Raising to higher expectations hasn't been living up to what we wanted to. Like this is the center that was right in front of Joe Burrow at LSU as he won the national championship. So this isn't a guy that's bottom of the barrel. This guy has some pedigree. He has some ability. He needs to play up to his expectations. He needs to be able to certainly fight off his competition in a 7th-round draft pick and a guy that has been in the league for years, but has gotten minimal snaps in doing so. Kenny's coming in and he's saying, "Hey," and I think Jody will agree with this too. It better be Russell Wilson. If not, season will be a failure, and you'll be drafting a QB in 2024.
I put him in that other category like you did. What a most improved or
yep.
You had 2 categories. He
improved
played last year
comeback player.
He played last year and just didn't play well. I think he needs to be and will be your comeback player of the year because I think he knows what's on the line. So
yeah, a lot of pressure, man. A lot of pressure. We'll see how he deals with it. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself. He has the pressure of the Broncos. He has the pressure of the fandom, and he's got to step up to that. He needs to be one of the most improved players on this Denver Broncos roster because a lot of that starts with Russell Wilson. Can't be a most improved Tim Patrick. Can't be a most improved Sutton if you don't have a most improved Russell Wilson. So
I think Russell Wilson needs to participate in the MVP contest.
That would be fantastic.
That's what he needs to do.
It's getting to that point in his career where if he wants to make a run at another run at league MVP, it's going to have to happen here in the next few years. And I think he's completely capable of doing so. A question for another day I just had pop in my mind. So sorry, got a little delayed in my mind process, or my thought process. Michael Ronquillo is the one that's jumping in and agreeing with Kenny as far as Russell Wilson, and it sounds like Jody as well. Saying he's 100% agree. It needs to be Russell Wilson as far as that most improved player. Kenny jumping back in and saying, surprise player, whomever, is returning punts this year because Mike Westhoff might be the GOAT in special team coordinators. Wow. Yeah, a lot of names that we could throw around as far as returners are concerned. But yeah, Mike Westhoff is that guy that we brought in for special teams. He is a guru, a Yoda of special teams, and it'll be really interesting to see what he's capable of bringing about, not just from a return standpoint, but everything, guys. All the blocking that we go through, everything. We haven't been fantastic up and down the board. I know that we always look at the returner and how many yards that he gets, but there's a lot of things that happen before that. And it'll be interesting to have him paired up with Sean Payton as well. So, but good call out, Kenny. There will be a lot of surprise player candidates, I think, across the board for this Denver Broncos team. Well, gentlemen, we're running almost.
I got a question for you on Javonte Williams, real quick.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say we're running up against it, but if you have anything else,
it's a quick one. If he is medically cleared, cleared for contact, and in football shape, week 1, are you playing him, or are you of the mindset he needs to sit 3 or 4 weeks? I can't see what if he's cleared for all that. I can't seem to see what 3 or 4 more weeks sitting him. Am I giving him a full workload week 1? No, but I don't see what sitting him does. If he has all those.
He's cleared for training camp, full contact right now, right?
Well,
do I understand that right? Or he expects to be?
He expects to be.
He expects to be. So,
and even if he's not full contact, by week 1, I think he will be, because I don't think you're going to see him in preseason. Or I wouldn't play him in preseason.
I absolutely would. I'm
on
the Sean Payton mindset.
Just
said,
because
are we going to see the starters? He said, it's the preseason. Of course you're going to see the starters.
If he wasn't coming off the injury, then sure, then you see him. But I just think this injury, because he might not get cleared for full contact till, the week of week 1. He's still out there.
I don't see it, man. He's been on the fast track in my mind. He's been coming back and coming back. He expects to be full contact in OTAs, at the beginning of OTAs. Even if he's not, like you said, what if he's not? Okay, well, what if he's cleared 3 weeks into training? I said OTAs, training camp. It's still, that's plenty of time to be getting those reps, getting preseason reps, and getting ready for week 1 as being the starter. I don't see any reason that we need to slow that process if he's clearing these hurdles.
I agree.
And here's the thing: if he indeed clears and he is ready to go, then maybe on a limited snap count. But here's the thing: it is a complete new offense. And the preseason, that is where you really see, this is what is going to work and this is what not going to work. So yeah, he has to play, because it is a complete different offense than what he had last year.
Yeah, he's not getting 30 carries week 1 for me.
No.
But if he gets 5 to 10 carries, or 5 to 10 carries, maybe a pass out of the backfield or something, and you work him in, that's what I expect. I just don't see the benefit of, if he's cleared all those, because I see a lot of people, he needs to sit. You got to sit him. Don't rush him back. He's going to be cleared the 4 weeks after. You're not gaining anything.
I agree 100%, buddy. Well, I think we're all on the same page here. Don't listen to all your naysayers out there that you're tuned into, I guess is the big thing, Jody, because, the guy's been making incredible leaps and bounds. Honestly, if he's 100% cleared and he's 100% cleared and he's 100% cleared and he gets injured, I'd rather be injured early, maybe have the ability to come back, than sit there and save him and save him and save him just to get him injured, and then now he's gone for the entire season because you waited all that time. Right. So Kenny's coming in and he does kind of correct himself a little bit. So I'll just read the correction. He says, not to be a Debbie Downer, Saquon had the same injury, and it took him 2 years to get back to the elite player he was. Yeah, not everyone's going to be Adrian Peterson, where you come back in record time.
Yeah, that's a unicorn.
And you're productive almost from the day that you step back onto the football field. And that is one of the things. Hey, I was hot on Samaje Perine, because I do think he's capable of more than just that RB2 position that he was put behind in Cincinnati behind Joe Mixon. I think it can be a pretty dynamic back. I think he can carry quite a bit of the load, and I think that's exactly what we would need if we continue this timetable with Javonte Williams, because let's face it, if it's a 70-30 split, that's probably about what we need. And we can always work towards a 50-50 as we start getting more and more reps under Javonte Williams' legs. And heck, you can always even spell in, and let's not forget, we have a fullback as well. There's a fullback that can end up taking the ball and being handed off to as well, even if Javante's on the field. It can be a great decoy. So,
And here's another thing. This says something about Javante's character too. If he plays, he only plays full out. He doesn't take it halfway. And I think that's what he has done with his recovery too. It's not like we have seen from some offensive linemen that came from Florida, that when he has a broken toenail, that he doesn't play.
mm.
So Javonte is not like that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, and we'll probably wrap it up here, guys, with this. Kenny's jumping in, just said, in my opinion, the best thing for the Broncos and Javonte would be to keep him on a snap count, playing behind Pirine, and use him as a spell type back. Yeah, like I said, I think that 70-30 split somewhere around in that position. If he's been a go all through training camp or most of training camp through the preseason, week one comes along, hey, have him out there for 25-30% of the snaps and go from there. You have lots of different options in order to get him stacked up and ready to go. Last, thank you, Michael Ronquillo. Says, great show, Keith, Jody, and Albert. Always fun talking about Broncos football. Well, thank you, Michael. Appreciate you joining the roundup, being part of the posse. Everybody that jumped in, being part of this, being part of our group, and we do it for you guys. So appreciate you a ton as well. So, gentlemen, go around the horn. Any closing thoughts? Because we're already right up against that hour. I think we're going to wrap it up for the night. And Clayton just coming in here late saying evening, guys, as well. So, as he says, Clayton here. Wow, look at, and he's helping us out. Smash that like button and share, guys. Appreciate that, Clayton, very much. So, Albert, any closing thoughts? Anything that you want to get to before we get out of here? Oh, it sounds like you're on mute, buddy. Or it sounds like you're not on mute. Or it doesn't sound like you're on mute. I don't know.
I was speaking very quietly.
There you go. Soft whispers of Albert Knoppers.
Yes. No, I'm looking really forward to the new season. I think we have a playoff caliber team now, and we have now a Super Bowl winning head coach, and we have not had that for the last 6 years. So I think our drought is at an end.
Very good, buddy. Jody, any closing thoughts or ideas?
I'm just excited. We're just a little over 2 weeks away from training camp starting. I love this time of the year because it's nonstop, 24/7 Bronco talk. Especially with the Rockies around here sucking horribly. I mean,
they're generating discussion just because of that.
They gloss over the Rockies pretty quick. There's nothing really else going on right now, and this is a Broncos state, town, whatever you want to say. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what Russ can do in this offense. And there's some guys I'm excited to see that people aren't expecting things from that I'm expecting big things from. So,
very good, man. We'll probably get to more of that as we continue to break down all these position groups, round them out over the next few weeks too. So, just really quick, Kenny saying good night, fellas. Good night to you, Kenny. Appreciate it. And Clayton, I appreciate it, but he says I will listen to you guys after the show. I appreciate you coming in late, making your presence be known, and appreciate the support. Listen to the show and give us your thoughts. And as always, man, reach out to us. Love to have any comments, thoughts, ideas, discussion with you later as well, Clayton. So appreciate you jumping in here. My thoughts, guys, kind of wraps right into what we were kind of talking about. We're just 7 days away from those rookies reporting officially for their portion of training camp. And for me, hopefully they took all that conditioning, all that time that they've already put in the Broncos facility, the little mini camps, the whole 9 yards, and they took it to heart. They've stayed up on it, and they're ready to go. But I think about, for me, it's kind of like, that first day of school. And I can't imagine what the butterflies are like for these guys, the nervousness, I I guess just the overall optimism as you're you're on your first NFL football team. It's just a week away, and you're going to be on the field with pretty soon with all these NFL veterans and pros and working your way towards hopefully making a 53-man roster. So I guess my thoughts right now are just towards those rookies. It's their first step. Their first step in their NFL career. It's right around the corner when the rubber's going to hit the road. It's no more playing around time. It's go time. And excited for our rookies, the guys that we brought in, and just see how they're going to be able to benefit this Broncos team, and heck, just be part of that Broncos tradition that is proud for us, guys. It's been a few years, but I think we're on the verge, guys. We're on the verge of being super proud of the Denver Broncos. So that being said, Michelle coming in and says, great show and have a great evening. So thank you very much, Michelle. Kenny jumping in and saying, bye, Keith. Shohei Tani Talk will be heating up on our show tomorrow. He knows I'm an Angels fan, so tune in. Check out the Great K&K show myself, as should all the listeners out here who want to check out some baseball talk, some football talk, basketball, hockey, not just Colorado, but the entire league. So, hey, and some well wishes coming back to Michelle, saying you too, Michelle, from Michael Knoppers. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate everyone that jumped in. We had a great participation right off the back. We had Kenny, Kurt, and Sis from the Great K&K show. We had Clayton in here. We had Michael Ronquillo in here. We had Michelle in here. Who else we had? Roy was in here as well. Guys, appreciate all your support. I know I probably missed out some names because I don't have a list in front of me. So if I missed you, I'm sorry. Believe me. Appreciate you guys a super ton. And hey, every Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m., where are you going to be at? You're going to be right here hanging with this posse because you're part of our posse here at the Denver Bronco Roundup, guys. Until next week, let's get on out of here. We're going to, again, next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Until then, we're out of here. Good night, everyone.